G'day guys, on this episode we're going to be installing some Roadsafe recovery points and also a set of bash plates to the front of the Triton. G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Service My Ride. Today we will be installing the front recovery points from Roadsafe. Now before you buy any Roadsafe recovery points for your car or recovery points for your car, if you've got a bull bar or a nudge bar, make sure that they are compatible for the bar work that you've got on. Some aren't compatible for all bull bars, so just check before you buy. These are compatible for an ARB bar. The only problem is that they come in yellow. Not a fan of the yellow, so we are going to respray them, and the reason is the paint has started to chip off. Now these only got delivered 2 days ago, and because they've chipped, I don't want them to rust out or corrode, so we're going to respray them and get ready for the car. Now these are for an MN Triton. They are vehicle specific. It doesn't matter if your car is auto or manual, but there is a difference in when you're putting them on the car. The manual, you can put them straight on, drill your holes and bolt them in. With the automatic, you do have to remove the trans cooler out of the way, just so you can get in and drill some holes. But apart from that, it's pretty straightforward. Also got the bridle strap in the kit, and then the hardware as well. But first, I've got to paint these recovery points, and then we can get started on the car. Alright, because we've got to drill into the chassis, I've got some Venom cutting spray. Now hopefully that's going to save our drill bits. What I'm going to do is spray this on the drill itself, plus also on the chassis, and every now and then we'll just keep putting a bit more of a spray on there just to help it lubricate it, and hopefully we don't break any drills. What we essentially want to do is pop one onto that side of the chassis rail. There's already a hole up the back there which we use for one of the bolts. So we need to drill another one up the top here and one right on the bottom. And then over on this side as well. That's the hole that we will use. And then we need to drill another hole underneath here. And then another one up the top there. So what I was saying difference between manual and auto, both sides for the manual will look like this, and then obviously with the auto we've got the cooler here which we're going to have to remove so we can get the drill to be able to drill the holes up into there. So we might do this side first, the driver's side. It looks a lot easier, and then we can come back and try and get the passenger side done. Now if you do have the bash plates on, and you want to know if these are going to fit, this is just a bit of WD-40. I sprayed it on last night. If you want to know if your recovery points will fit, what you pretty much want to see is that the edge of that chassis rail, if that, you can see that with your bash plate on, you'll be fine, because it comes down underneath and then sticks out the side here. So now we need to drill some holes. So use a recovery point as a template and mark the holes with a paint marker, and then use a nail punch to stop the drill bit from wandering. I started with a 4.5mm and went up to a 13mm. Alright, that was a straight through. Well, 4.5 to 13. I might change that. Now, although the 13mm did drill it out okay from the 4.5mm, I decided to go back to an 8mm before jumping back to the 13mm. Alright, that was easier. Hang up, show big boy. Alright, a lot easier. So after drilling the holes into the chassis and to prevent any rust, we're just going to use some spray paint. What we want to do is pop this in and see now if our bolt holes line up. We've got one. Got two. And the third one will fit up in there. Beautiful. So if you thought drilling the holes into the chassis was going to be the hard bit, let me tell you that is wrong. The hard bit now is going to be attaching the nut to the back of that bolt inside the chassis. And the way you do that is through this access hole in the chassis with the nut attached to a plate. We can slide it down and try and line it up. Now, like I said, I won't lie, this is not fun, it is not easy, and it will take a little bit of time and patience. Alright, so there we go, there's our 3 bolts holding it in. Now, they are only finger tight, but they are an absolute nightmare to try and get in. I know it's not the easiest to get a nut on the inside of that chassis, but to wiggle those wires around, that was a hell of a job to try and get done. It literally took me about 20 minutes to try and line them up, but it's in. We can pretty much tighten them to spec now, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so just have a look at the spec on the phone. An M12 at 8.8 can go anywhere between 71 and 105 Newton meters. Now, these two here we've done to 85, and that one, it's just as tight as I can get it with a spanner, so it's going to be fine. If you really want to try and torque that bolt as well, you might have to just drop the radiator out so you can get a torque wrench onto it, but that's tight, it's not going anywhere, and that's pretty solid. Alright, now we can start on the passenger side. Alright, now we want to fit this bad boy up into there. Now the problem is we can't get access because of the transcoil, so we'll have to drop that out so we can get our drill in and drill the one hole up in there, and the bottom hole should be pretty sweet. Now, with removing the cooler, there will be a small amount of oil that's going to come out, so we are going to use our drain pan. And then once we remove the top and bottom hose, there is only 4 bolts holding it in. And that's off there. Alright, now we've got that side out. We've just got one little bolt there we need to pull out as well, and the whole lot will come out. Now with the cooler out of the way, the process to attach the passenger side is exactly the same as the driver's side. So first line it up, make your marks, and then you can drill your holes, and then the access point in the chassis will be through the wheel arch where we need to attach our nut to the back of the bolt. Then we can secure it, making sure that our torque specs on these bolts are correct. Let's tighten them up. So, I'm not going to go maximum torque. Move on to the next one. Now that the recovery point has been fitted, we can reinstall the transmission cooler back to the car. And don't forget we did drop a bit of fluid, so we might need to top up the transmission fluid as well. So now it's time to install our new bash plates onto the vehicle. Now these are going to be a lot heavier than the factory ones, and one of you guys actually got in contact with me to let me know that by doing this the factory mounts aren't going to hold up and to replace them. So I ended up putting a poll onto social media, which was also what you guys were saying. To replace them, it's quite cheap and easy to do. So I haven't done them as yet, but I will be getting them done in the next week or so. And in fitting bash plates, it is very easy with the mounts already there. It's literally just line it up and bolt them in. Slide them like so, and just place it. last plate back in. So that's installing the recovery points and the bash plates to the front of the Triton. So I hope you guys can gain some information out of that and give it a crack yourself. So get out there and give it a go, and I'll see you guys in the next video.